All of our street projects are part of our 1998 pavement management plan that the council approved, and this is our last project because these streets were the newest streets in the city at the time when that plan was put together. So the streets are starting to deteriorate. We're spending a lot of money putting in patching materials over the past several years, and it was just time to do a street project there. So this project will be covering Garfield Street, Hayes Street, and 80th Avenue.
Generally, the project is intended to preserve or replace the pavement within the project area, the surface pavement. And that's going to be done by a process called pavement reclamation. Essentially, it's just like a machine that's just like a big rototiller in a garden will come through the streets and grind up the existing bituminous and the gravel beneath it and make a nice uniform gravel type material. And then the contractor will blade that material, shape it to provide a new base, and then we'll overlay that with new bituminous. And that's a nice process. It works well because it provides a surface that residents can use to access their property during the construction process. So we really like to use that, and it provides a very nice finished product. The whole process will probably take about 4 to 6 weeks, and it'll occur in the summer of 2022. For the most part, people will be able to get in and out of their properties without any trouble at all. As I mentioned, that reclamation process produces a gravel-like substance, so you can drive over that just like you're going down a gravel road. For the storm sewer repairs, there'll be a couple areas where there will be excavation occurring and there'll be trenches across the road. But the nice thing about this neighborhood is it's a looped street, so if you can't get through one way, you can turn around and go the other way and get to your place. So there'll be a little disruption where the excavation's occurring for the storm sewer, but for the most part, people will be able to get through. From a noise standpoint, that reclamation machine, the machine that's like a big garden rototiller, is pretty loud. And for a day or so, that'll be a little noisy, but the rest of the process is pretty painless.
The street should be passable the entire time during construction. There may be some periods where you won't be able to access your driveway, but for the most part, the streets will be passable during that time. But if you're having a graduation party or some other party, please let us know and we'll do our best to work around that scheduling.
The concrete curb that goes along the edges of the road is in generally pretty good condition. We anticipate replacing short sections of that, but the majority of that will stay in place, and that's good news for the yards and the driveways, and so we don't anticipate a lot of disruption with that type of material. And for those people that are going to have some disruption in those areas, we'll meet with them and talk with them ahead of time during the construction and make sure we look at their landscaping and make sure there's no irrigation system or anything like that that might be disturbed. Right now, we estimate the project costs to be in the neighborhood of $689,000 totally. The city pays 100% of any utility replacement costs, which in this case, as I mentioned, there's some storm sewer that has to be replaced, so the city will pay 100% of that cost. Of the street repair costs, the city's practice and policy calls for assessing a portion of that cost to the residents along the street.
The pavement management plan went through and talked about how the projects would be allocated on an assessment basis. So the city picks up 55% of the project and the residents pay 45% through special assessments. Assessments are looking to be right around $3,400 a property, and that will be fine-tuned as we get actual costs, but that based on the engineer's estimate, that's what the assessment's looking at. We wanted to do this video to just give people an opportunity to learn more about the project before we go into the formal special assessment process. And we will have a lot more information on our website at www.slpmn.org.